the field of blood and fire. The sun had not fully risen yet. A soft fog covered the wide wheat field, moving slowly like a quiet river. The air was cold, and the land was peaceful. This was how every morning began on Eli's farm. Calm, silent, safe. Eli walked between the tall wheat plants with a small bag over his shoulder. He was a simple human farmer. His hands were rough, his clothes old, and his life quiet. He liked it that way. Then the ground shook. Eli stopped walking. At first, he thought it was thunder, but the sky was clear. The shaking came again, stronger this time. Birds flew into the air, screaming. The wheat bent and swayed as if something massive had moved beneath it. Eli's heart began to beat faster. He followed the sound, stepping carefully through the field. With every step, the air felt heavier. The smell came next, smoke and blood. Then he saw them. Two enormous shapes lay in the middle of his field. They were dragons. Their bodies were huge, their wings torn and broken. Dark blood stained the golden wheat, turning it red. One dragon had a deep wound across its chest. The other dragged a shattered wing, barely moving. Eli froze. Everyone knew what dragons were. They were fire, death, monsters from stories told to scare children. Humans hunted them. Dragons burned villages. Eli had never seen one before. Now there were two, dying on his land. One dragon lifted its head slowly. Its eyes opened just enough to look at him. Eli felt fear rush through his body. His legs wanted to run. His hands shook. But the dragon did not attack. It only breathed, slow and painful. Eli swallowed hard. He looked around the empty field. No soldiers. No hunters. No one else had seen this yet. If they were found, they would be killed. Eli knew this. He also knew something else. If he walked away, these dragons would die. A loud roar echoed far away in the sky. It was distant but clear. Eli understood at once. Something had chased them here. Something powerful. The dragons were hiding. Eli made a choice that no one would ever understand. He ran back to his barn. Moments later, he returned with his old wooden cart, thick ropes, and heavy cloth. His hands moved fast, but his heart was shaking. He had no plan, only fear and determination. He approached the first dragon slowly. "Easy," Eli said softly, even though his voice trembled. "I won't hurt you." The dragons, I followed him. Fire burned deep inside it, but it did not release it. Eli tied the ropes carefully, keeping his distance. Every second felt like a year. Then he pulled. The cart groaned. The ground tore. Eli used all his strength. His muscles screamed. Inch by inch, he moved the dragon. The dragon did nothing. Eli did not understand why. Dragons were supposed to kill humans on sight. Yet this one allowed him to touch it. The second dragon let out a weak growl as Eli came close. Its teeth were sharp. Its claws dug into the dirt. Eli stopped. "If you burn me," he whispered, "I understand." The dragon's head lowered. Its eyes closed. Eli tied the ropes and pulled again. Blood mixed with soil as he dragged both dragons toward the barn at the edge of the field. Sweat covered his face. His breath came out in gasps. Every sound made him flinch. What if someone saw him? What if the dragons changed their minds? When he finally reached the barn, Eli pushed the heavy doors open. The inside was dark and smelled of hay and old wood. He pulled the dragons inside and covered them with cloth and straw. The barn doors closed with a loud thud. Silence returned. Eli fell to his knees. His hands were red with blood, not his own. Inside the barn, one dragon shifted slightly. Its tail moved. Its breathing became calmer. Eli leaned against the wall, exhausted. Outside, the fog began to lift. The sun rose higher. And somewhere far away, something roared again, angry this time. Eli looked at the closed barn doors. He did not know it yet, but this morning had changed his life forever, and the lives of the dragons he had saved. The night the dragons opened their eyes, night fell slowly over Eli's farm. The sky turned dark blue, then black. Stars appeared one by one, cold and distant. The wind moved softly through the wheat field, as if the land itself was holding its breath. Inside the barn, it was not quiet. Eli sat near the wall, his back against old wooden planks. A small oil lamp burned beside him. Its weak light shook with every sound. He had not left the barn since morning. The dragons were alive. He could hear them breathing. Deep, heavy, dangerous. One dragon shifted its massive body. Straw moved. Wood cracked under its weight. Eli's heart jumped into his throat. He stood up slowly, trying not to make noise. He was tired. His arms hurt. His legs felt like stone. But sleep would not come. Not with two dragons only a few steps away. The first dragon opened its eye. The eye was huge, glowing softly like fire under ash. It fixed on Eli. Time stopped. Eli did not move. He did not breathe. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body refused. If he ran, the dragon would burn him before he reached the door. The dragon lifted its head. Its long neck moved slowly, each motion powerful. Heat filled the air. Eli felt it on his skin, like standing close to a fire. This was it. This was how he died. But the fire never came. Instead, the dragon made a low sound. Not a roar, not a growl, a sound of pain. The second dragon moved too. It tried to rise, but its broken wing failed. It crashed back onto the ground with a loud thud. The barn shook. Eli rushed forward without thinking. "Don't move," he said, his voice shaking. "You're hurt." The words were simple, stupid even. Dragons did not understand human speech. Everyone knew that. But the first dragons, I followed him. Eli stopped a few steps away. The smell of blood was strong now. He could see the wounds clearly in the lamplight. Deep cuts, burn marks. These dragons had fought something terrible, something that almost killed them. Eli grabbed a bucket of water and clean cloth. His hands trembled as he knelt down. Slowly, very slowly, he reached toward the wounded chest. The dragon did not stop him. Eli cleaned the blood carefully. He worked like he did with injured animals on his farm. Calm movements, soft hands, no sudden actions. The dragon watched every move. Outside, a sound broke the silence. Footsteps. Eli froze. Voices followed. Human voices. "Tracks in here," one voice said. "I smell fire." Eli's blood ran cold. Hunters. The dragons heard it too. The first dragon's chest glowed faintly. Fire gathered inside it. The barn grew hotter. "No," Eli whispered. "Please don't." The dragon looked at him. Then something impossible happened. The glow faded. The dragon lowered its head. The voices outside came closer. Shadows moved past the cracks in the barn wall. Eli could hear armor. Weapons. Men trained to kill dragons. If they opened the door, everything would end. Eli stood up and stepped between the dragons and the barn door. If the hunters entered, they would see him first. "Why am I doing this?" he whispered to himself. A loud knock hit the barn door. "Anyone inside?" a man shouted. Eli did not answer. Another knock. Stronger. The second dragon shifted, weak but restless. Its tail struck the ground. Dust fell from the roof. Eli raised his hands, shaking. "Go," he whispered to the dragons. "Please stay quiet." The first dragon lowered its massive head until it was close to Eli's chest. Its breath was hot. Its eye looked straight into his. Not angry, not wild, understanding. The hunters cursed outside. "False trail," one said. Dragons moved on. Their footsteps faded. Silence returned. Eli collapsed to the ground. He was alive. The dragons were alive. The first dragon slowly reached forward. Its large claw stopped inches from Eli's shoulder. One move, and Eli would be crushed. Instead, the claw rested gently on the ground beside him. A promise. Eli looked up, tears filling his eyes. Outside, far beyond the hills, a deep roar shook the night sky. This time it was not weak. It was hunting, and it was coming. When the dragons chose to trust. Morning came, but the fear did not leave. Sunlight touched the farm slowly, as if it was afraid of what it might see. The wheat field looked calm again, but inside the barn, something had changed forever. Eli had not slept. He sat on the dirt floor with his back against the wall. His eyes were red. His hands were shaking. Every sound during the night had felt like death knocking on the door. The dragons were awake now. Both of them. The first dragon lifted its head as the light entered the barn. Its eyes were clear, sharp, and fully open. Fire burned deep inside them, controlled but powerful. This was no weak creature anymore. The second dragon moved slowly. Its broken wing dragged across the ground. Pain showed in every movement, but its eyes were full of awareness. They were watching Eli, not like animals, like thinking beings. Eli stood up carefully. His legs felt weak, but he forced himself forward. He brought water and food, placing them on the ground, then stepped back. "I don't know what you are," he said quietly, "but I won't hurt you." The dragons did not move. Minutes passed. Then the first dragon did something no human had ever seen. It lowered its head, not in weakness, in respect. Eli felt his breath catch in his chest. Slowly, the dragon pushed a small object forward with its claw. It was black metal, broken and burned, marked with strange symbols. Eli recognized it immediately. "A hunter's mark. This is who hurt you," Eli whispered. The dragon let out a low sound. Not anger, not pain, grief. Eli understood now. These dragons were not attacking villages. They were running, hunted, tracked, almost killed, and now, hidden in a human's barn. A sudden sharp sound cracked the air. Eli froze. Far away, horns echoed through the hills. Not one, many. The dragons reacted instantly. The first dragon rose to its full height despite its wounds. Fire flashed along its scales. The second dragon growled, low and deep, shaking the ground. Hunters. An army this time. Eli's mind raced. They were searching wider now. More desperate. More angry. The barn would not hold. The field would not hide them. Eli looked at the dragons. "If you stay here," he said, "you will die." The first dragon looked back at him. Then it did something impossible. It stepped closer. Its massive head lowered until its forehead touched Eli's chest. A deep warmth spread through him. Not fire. Not pain. Connection. Eli gasped. His vision blurred. Images filled his mind. Mountains burning, chains cutting into scales, screams, blood in the sky. The dragon pulled back. Eli fell to his knees, breathing hard. "They chained you," he whispered. "They tortured you." The dragon's eyes glowed softly. The bond had begun. Outside, the horns grew louder. Eli forced himself up. "There's an old path," he said. "Behind the hill. It's hidden. You can escape." The dragons hesitated. Leaving meant survival. Staying meant trust. The second dragon tried to stand and failed. Its broken wing gave out. It crashed to the ground with a roar of pain. The first dragon turned sharply, fear flashing in its eyes. They could not fly. They could not run. The hunters were coming. Eli made another impossible choice. "Then we fight differently," he said. He grabbed a torch and walked to the barn doors. His heart hammered in his chest. He threw the doors open wide. Sunlight flooded in. From the hilltop, armored figures appeared. Dozens of them. Spears, nets, fire traps, dragon hunters. They saw the barn. They smiled. Eli stepped forward alone. "There are no dragons here," he shouted. The hunters laughed. Behind him, the first dragon growled, but did not attack. Eli raised the torch and threw it into the wheat field. Fire spread fast. Smoke rose high into the sky. Chaos exploded. The hunters shouted, confused, blinded by smoke and fire. Inside the barn, the dragons moved. Slow, silent, together. As flames and smoke covered the land, Eli led the dragons through the hidden path behind the hill. By the time the hunters reached the barn, it was empty. Only fire and broken ground remained. Far away, in the shadows of the forest, the dragons stopped. The first dragon turned back one last time and looked at Eli. This time it bowed fully, not to a human, to a protector. And somewhere deep in the world, something ancient felt the bond form and woke up. The price of the bond. The forest was dark and silent. Tall trees blocked the moonlight. Mist moved between the trunks like living smoke. Eli walked carefully, his torch low, his breath slow. Behind him, the dragons followed, quiet, wounded, and alert. They should have been loud. They were not. That scared Eli more than anything. The first dragon moved with slow power, every step careful. The second dragon struggled, its broken wing dragging against the ground. Pain showed in its eyes, but it did not complain. It refused to fall behind. They trusted Eli, and trust had a price. Suddenly, the first dragon stopped. Its head lifted. Its eyes narrowed. Eli felt it too. The air changed. Something was wrong. A sharp whistle cut through the forest. Then another. Then dozens. Lights exploded around them. Torches. Fire crystals. Traps snapping shut in the dirt. Hunters burst from the trees. There, someone shouted. They didn't escape. Eli's heart slammed against his chest. The dragons roared. Fire lit the forest. Trees burned. Hunters screamed as flames forced them back. But more hunters kept coming. Nets flew through the air, glowing with strange runes. One net caught the second dragon. It roared in pain as the runes burned into its scales. It collapsed, trapped, helpless. "No!" Eli shouted. Without thinking, he ran forward. An arrow cut through the air and struck the ground inches from his feet. "Human!" a hunter yelled. "Move away!" Eli stood between the trapped dragon and the hunters. "You will not touch them," he said. The hunters laughed. "You think you can stop us?" The first dragon stepped beside Eli. Its wounded chest glowed brighter than ever. Fire gathered, stronger than before. But then it froze. A deep voice echoed through the forest. "Enough!" The hunters stepped back at once. The ground shook. From the shadows, a massive figure appeared, larger than any dragon Eli had seen. Its scales were black and gold. Chains of glowing metal wrapped around its body, not as prison, but as symbols of control. The Dragon Lord. Eli felt his knees weaken. The Dragon Lord's eyes locked onto the dragons behind Eli. "Runaways," it said. "You were warned." The first dragon growled, weak but defiant. "You broke the law," the Dragon Lord continued. "You bonded with a human." The forest fell silent. Eli turned slowly. "Bonded?" The Dragon Lord looked at him now. Its gaze felt heavy, ancient, crushing. "This human carries your mark," it said. "That bond is forbidden." Eli felt heat in his chest. Pain. Light. The bond burned. He cried out and fell to the ground. Images flooded his mind. Dragons enslaved, forced to fight wars, burned by magic chains. The Dragon Lord ruled through fear, calling it order. "You use them," Eli gasped. "You don't protect them." The Dragon Lord stepped closer. "You know nothing, farmer." The trapped dragon screamed as the net tightened. Something inside Eli broke. He stood up. "I may be small," he said, voice shaking but loud, "but I choose how I stand." The bond flared. For the first time in history, a human-controlled dragonfire. Flames erupted around Eli, not burning him, but protecting him. Hunters ran in fear. The Dragon Lord staggered back, shocked. "That is impossible," it hissed. The first dragon roared with full strength. The bond was no longer one-sided. Together, human and dragon. The fire shattered the rune net. The second dragon was free. The Dragon Lord roared in rage. "This changes nothing." But it did, because others felt it. Far away, ancient dragons stirred. Old powers awakened. The world noticed. The Dragon Lord retreated into the shadows, eyes burning with hatred. "This bond will bring war," it warned. "And you, human, will be the first to die." The forest went quiet. Eli collapsed again, exhausted. The dragons moved close to him, shielding him with their bodies. The bond pulsed softly. This was no longer about survival. This was rebellion, and the world would never be the same again. When the world turned against one farmer. News travels fast when fear leads the way. By the next sunrise, Eli's name spread across the land. Hunters spoke of a human who stood inside Dragonfire and lived. Villages whispered about a farmer who controlled beasts meant to destroy cities. They did not call him brave. They called him dangerous. Eli did not know any of this yet. He walked slowly through the forest with the dragons beside him. His body was weak. The bond had taken much from him. Every step felt heavy, like the earth itself pushed back. The dragons stayed close. Too close. They were afraid. That alone told Eli how serious this had become. By nightfall, they reached an old stone valley. Broken towers stood like dead giants. This place had once been a dragon's sanctuary, long before chains and laws. Now it was empty. "Stay here," Eli whispered, though he knew they did not need words. The first dragon lowered its head, touching Eli's shoulder gently. The bond pulsed again, soft, worried. Something was coming. Then the sky changed. Clouds twisted unnaturally. The wind screamed through the valley. Torches appeared on the cliffs above. Hundreds of them. An army. Not just hunters. Human soldiers. Mage guards. Even bound dragons, their eyes dull, chains glowing around their necks. Eli felt sick. They use your own kind against you, he whispered. The first dragon growled low, full of pain and anger. A voice echoed across the valley. Eli of the farmland, it called. Come forward. A man stepped into view. He wore white armor marked with royal seals. His face was calm, cold, confident. I'm the king's speaker, the man said. You are accused of treason against mankind. Eli stepped forward alone. I save lives, Eli said. You broke balance, the speaker replied. Dragons are weapons. You turn them into allies. Behind the speaker, chained dragons were forced forward. One looked at Eli. Its eyes were empty. That broke him. Let them go, Eli said quietly. The speaker smiled. Kneel, and we will kill them quickly. Silence fell. The dragons behind Eli shifted, ready to burn the world. Eli raised his hand. No, he said. The bond exploded with pain. Magic chains shot toward him, wrapping around his body. He screamed as they burned into his skin. He fell to his knees. The dragons roared. Fire rained from the sky. Chaos erupted. The valley turned into war. Bound dragons hesitated. The bond reached them, weak but real. Some chains cracked. Some dragons fought back. The king's speaker shouted orders. Mages formed shields. Soldiers fell. Eli struggled to stand as the chains tightened. I will not kneel, he gasped. The first dragon roared louder than thunder. It placed itself over Eli, taking spells meant for him. Scales shattered. Blood fell like rain. No, Eli screamed. The bond reacted, not as fire, as command. Every free dragon stopped fighting. Every chained dragon froze. They looked at Eli. For the first time in history, dragons heard a human's will. Enough, Eli whispered. The ground shook. The magic chain shattered. A shockwave blasted through the valley. Soldiers were thrown back. Mages fell silent. The king's speaker stared in horror. What are you? He demanded. Eli stood, shaking blood on his clothes. I am not your enemy, Eli said, but I will not be your weapon. The army retreated. Not defeated, warned. The valley burned quietly as night fell. Eli collapsed into the arms of the dragons. Far away, in a throne room made of fire and bone, ancient eyes opened fully. The human has chosen, a deep voice said. Prepare the judgment. The war had only just begun. The judgment of the Dragon King. The sky burned red. Clouds twisted like living fire above the valley. The air felt heavy, pressing down on everything that breathed. Eli stood between the two dragons, his body weak, but his eyes clear. He felt it. The judgment had arrived. A deep roar shook the mountains. Not loud with rage, heavy with authority. The ground cracked as a massive shadow moved across the sky. The Dragon King descended. He was larger than any dragon alive. His scales shone like molten gold and dark stone. Old scars covered his body, each one a story of war. His wings blocked the sky as he landed, sending shockwaves through the valley. Every dragon lowered its head, even the wounded ones. Eli did not. The Dragon King's eyes fell on him. Ancient, endless, sharp enough to cut the soul. So, the Dragon King said, his voice echoing inside every mind, you are the human who broke the order. Eli swallowed. I save lives, he said. The Dragon King laughed softly. You broke chains older than your world. The two dragons behind Eli stepped forward, placing themselves between him and the king. Their bodies shook, not in fear but in loyalty. That made the Dragon King pause. You choose him, the king asked them. The first dragon raised its head proudly. Yes. The word was not spoken aloud, but Eli felt it inside his chest. The Dragon King's eyes narrowed. Then you accept the price. The air burned. Flames wrapped around Eli without touching his skin. Pain exploded inside him. He fell to his knees as memories flooded his mind. Every dragon ever enslaved, every war forced upon them, every scream swallowed by fire. "This is what you challenged," the Dragon King said. "Order keeps the world alive." Eli screamed, but did not look away. "Order without choice is a cage," he gasped. Silence followed. The Dragon King stared at him for a long time. Then he did something no one expected. He lowered his massive head. "You speak like one who would die for his choice," the Dragon King said. "So prove it." The ground split open. A pit of fire roared to life beneath Eli's feet. "To seal the bond," the Dragon King continued, "a human must give what dragons cannot, his future." The meaning hit Eli like a blade. He would not die, but he would never live as a normal human again. No family, no peace, no return. The dragons roared in protest. Eli raised his hand to stop them. "I accept," he said. The fire surged. Light exploded around him. The bond tore through his body, carving dragon marks into his skin. His scream echoed across the valley as the fire reshaped him. When it ended, Eli collapsed. The valley was silent. Slowly he stood. His eyes glowed faintly with dragon fire. The Dragon King studied him carefully. "You are no longer just human," the king said. "You are a bridge." He turned to the dragons. "The old order ends tonight." The king spread his wings. "Those who choose chains may keep them," he roared. "Those who choose freedom follow him." Across the land, dragons lifted their heads. Some roared in anger. Others roared in hope. The Dragon King rose into the sky, his judgment complete. Eli fell to one knee, exhausted. The dragons stood beside him. The war was not over, but something far stronger than fear had been born. Choice, and the world would never escape it. The world that changed forever. The world waited, not in peace, not in hope, in fear. Smoke still rose from broken valleys. Kings locked their gates. Armies stood ready, but unsure whom they were meant to fight. Humans whispered the name of a farmer like it was a curse, and dragons watched the skies. Eli stood on a high ridge above his old farmland. The wheat field below was burned in places, green in others. The barn still stood, broken but alive. He did not feel like a farmer anymore. The fire inside him was quiet now, but it was always there. A steady heat in his chest, a reminder of the price he had paid. Behind him, the two dragons rested, fully healed, stronger than before. Their scales shone in the sunlight, no longer marked by chains. They were free. A shadow passed over the land. Not one, many. Dragons appeared in the sky, dozens of them. Some bore old scars. Some still carried broken chains. Others were young, curious, afraid. They circled slowly, watching Eli. The first dragon stepped forward and roared, not in anger, but in call. Eli felt it spread through the bond. A question: "Will you lead us?" Eli closed his eyes. He saw his old life. Quiet mornings, simple work, a world that made sense. Then he saw another future: fire, loss, war, and change. He opened his eyes. "I won't rule you," Eli said softly, "and I won't command you." The dragons waited. "But I will stand with you," he continued. "Against chains, against fear, against lies." The bond pulsed. Across the sky, dragons roared together, not as weapons, as people. Far away, human armies panicked as dragons passed overhead, but they did not attack. They flew past cities, past castles, past borders, straight toward the mountains, toward freedom. In the capital city, the king watched the sky turn dark with wings. His hand shook. "This was never supposed to happen," he whispered. The age of control was ending. Days passed, then weeks. The world did not burn. Trade resumed slowly. Villages near Dragonlands reported strange things. Fires put out by dragon wind, floods stopped by massive wings, lost children returned by creatures once called monsters. Fear began to crack. Eli did not become a king. He returned to his land. But he was never alone again. Dragons came to him with questions, with pain, with anger, with hope. Eli listened. He helped where he could. He refused power offered by both dragons and humans. "I'm only a bridge," he said. One evening, As the sun set red and gold, the Dragon King returned. He landed silently behind Eli. "You changed the path," the king said. "History will curse you." "And thank you." Eli smiled weakly. "That's enough." The Dragon King studied him. "Your life will be long," he said, "and never simple." "I know," Eli replied. The king nodded once, then rose into the sky for the last time. Years later, children would ask why dragons no longer burn cities. Parents would say, because one human chose not to be afraid. They would ask his name, and the answer would always be the same. He was a farmer. In the quiet mornings, Eli still walked his field. Wheat grew strong again. The land healed, just like the world. Sometimes dragons flew low over the farm. Sometimes they landed. Always they bowed their heads, not to a ruler, not to a hero, but to the human who carried 2 wounded dragons across a field and carried the weight of a new world on his shoulders.